Recording, recording in progress. They be announcing it now. They talk about you are eligible for $20 for having an iPhone since 2004. Whoa. Knowing damn well I paid these thousands of dollars for y'all devices and I get $20. What an amazing rebate. Woo. This is my Sinners review part two, okay? Because I did go and see the movie again. And wow, I took some notes on a tracking device called $20. Baby. So, so good. So, so good. And, going to see Sinners again with family, biracial family, that we call family because they have a kinfolk. It really keep coming up and it really forces you to choose soul family over blood family, quote unquote. But I pointed out a few points, just a couple of notes that I just immediately want to read off. And we can definitely get into it. So I'll say this again. Seeing this movie again, Michael B. Jordan, baby. The shot at the end with the little wife beater, like I had to I had to let these people know I'm not playing with them. We came to be soldiers today. Sometimes the generals got to come back down to the level because that's what God did. And here we are playing this game. Still, y'all got COVID jabs and y'all voted. Strike two. You're out. Shout out to the Yankees. Shout out to the Knicks, more importantly. I promise you, the roof is on fire. We don't need no water. Y'all know the rest. Right before that scene, major scene, tracking device, right before that scene where you felt all of the music coming together and you realize what other cultures have African influence all in the same room during that same vibration, that energy. There's no wonder why the nightclub business will always flourish because of that very thing. Because of our energy. We make that energy. We love to dance. I feel like if you're not at least going to shake a tail feather, at least like once every so often, your energy is off. So I pointed that out because in my Caribbean culture, when we hear that, the next is follow the leader, 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 follow the leader. Like we going ignorant, jumping up crazy because that is definitely the shit. So we have that key, the roof is on fire. And it reminds me of just being free as fuck. At the end of the day, it's all about who you are putting forth in this energy and what type of power are you multiplying to enjoy the moment with other people, even if the roof is on fire. Because in that movie, Sinners, the roof technically was on fire during that energy, during that vibration. So I really, really, ooh, I still feel that scene in my soul. They did that magnificently. It's just an amazing energy. And I'm thankful that there was enough knowledge and enough energy to be able to depict that on the silver screen for us to feel, for us to see and recognize the truth of our power and how powerful we are together. I don't care if we are dancing and that's how we're coming together. If that's what it is, then so be it. But you have to still stay on code. It's really, really, really interesting out here, man. It's so crazy out here. They gave us religion. We came with soul, fellowship, and love. He could read her energy. He knew she lost her mom and he was drooling. white girl asked permission to let in, and Cornbread let her. Look how she took to the music. She started dancing in the crowd. As soon as she walked in, she kind of like felt the soul because now she could feel that energy and that vibration on a whole nother ancient knowledge way. Her soul remembered that energy, and she just immediately took to the crowd. Going back to Cornbread, you really gotta take your ancestral knowledge and wisdom. I have to put this tracking device down. I'm so sick of those things. Um, you have to be able to put your energy down sometimes, but we have to stop sharing and what we call gatekeeping secrets and information that could really save a culture of a people, could really save our traditions and within our community, because we're the only people who do not do that. So my point is, Cornbread let her back into the club and she asked permission, and he knew something was off, but that's that instant deception. Some people just don't, attention, like I'm over here, buddy. Some people mind don't really think fast, and we have to understand the type of demographic of people that are really out there that just don't even have the basic smarts, the street smarts to think on their feet. And that was that type of situation. Even from moving from your mark, knowing that your security to remove your bowels or release that pent up energy. Yo, you got to be prepared to sit there, my guy. What are you talking about? Wowing. It's just little things like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Next, rob trains and banks, but can't steal this pussy for a night. Yikes. I was like, we heard you, ma'am. Damn, put it out there for the eeks and the streets and the freaks. Ow. Were they truly twin flames, Stack and Mary? I thought it was interesting that she would be Mary just as much as people would want to be Eve, or named after the first woman or something like that. Recording in progress. We know, we know. Are Stack and Mary truly twin flames? What does that mean? What does that look like? Thinking about this movie again, seeing this movie, visualizing people coming together in unison, yin and yang energy, not necessarily leaving the fact that, couples have to come together and create one unity. It's impossible for you to do that with the same sex. We have to continue to procreate and learn what's happening on this planet, because it's, going to truly kill off a civilization called human beings. But just going back to the movie, there was kissing on the air, and she said they're hate now. So looking up that idea and learning that it's a demon, it reminds me of Beetlejuice, also a demon. And recognizing that sometimes we walk around with this weight on our backs, and they're a form of demon. And it's really up to you to decide if you want to get rid of them or not. Um, she said, "You dead and I hate now," talking to Cornbread. So when you have these attachments, you die, because the weight of the attachments have literally killed you. You have no soul. You're a soulless entity, and you don't care what happens to anybody as long as your venom can poison them to eventually look just like how you want it to be. You've created a doppelganger on your own. You didn't even allow that person to get to know you, to feel your energy, to learn you and groove with you on their own. You just automatically pushed your ways onto that person, and that was it. There was no conversation about whether if I wanted to sign on to the team or not. And around here where I'm from, where the Martians are, I get it. Everybody can't be chosen. But you got to put some blood, sweat, and tears in this a little bit. Like, what you mean I gotta look just like you? I thought that was interesting. And baptizing preacher boy in water after reading Psalms 23. I thought that was so significant because isn't that a thing? Like at the end of typical sermons, they have you give your life to Christ. You're chanting. That's a form of devotion to another God in a sense. And you lost your soul because they gave you an identity because you can be told what to do, and while I honor, fraternities, sororities, religion, if that's how you want to, do your thing, awesome. That's your prerogative. I've done it too. Awesome sauce. Wonderful. But where I am in my life, I have a direct connection to God. I don't need an intercessor. What do you mean I gotta go around the block when I could just walk one step? I don't even have to move. How about that? It's here. We tight, like real tight, tight. Nothing can permeate that energy. And that's why I be laughing at when y'all say, oh, this guard is better than this guard, when you have no idea that it's really all the same. Like, please leave me alone. I don't feel like arguing today. I just don't. It's not worth it. That is not worth it. You gotta choose your battles wisely, baby. Watching this movie again is nothing changed. And this is what I want us to remember, right? When you have a question or you're trying to solve an equation, there is an answer. There's a cause and effect. There has to be a balance of energy. That's how I look at humans. That's how I look at life. That's how I look at, aging on this planetary plane. But we also have to remember that there are real life dangers happening every single day on this planet. With the sun increasing in power and people not knowing how to maneuver through the energy, their energy is going to give them away, and it's going to be so easy to weed them out. You're going to have to become like desensitized, unfortunately. And I hate to say unfortunately because we've been desensitized to everything. I don't think that kids should know what it's like to blow people up. Like, I don't care if you're a superhero or not. Does every movie need a superhero? Like, what are you trying to depict? Why everybody can't just have fun? And I get it, cause and effect, but they all starting to end the same. And it's like we don't value life anymore. We always have to kill somebody. And when did you become in charge of my life? Those are the real questions. You telling me I have no choice. I just got to do your game. Game over. Game over. That's the best. That's the only move I got. Game over. I'm not paying for nothing. The game is over. I have to say that again. You gotta know when to shut shit down. Homeboy should have never left from the door spot. Like I said, I don't care how long you have to sit at the door. You do not move from your post, soldier. Gosh, why is that so difficult? Why was that so difficult? And because he wasn't on G code, he just let her right back in. It's giving messy. Gotta stop gatekeeping. Sure, I want payments for your times. This is an energy exchange. This is real life. If your energy is funky, you out. You out. Chucking up the deuces. All right, so let's go back. The roof is on fire. Follow the leader, 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 follow the leader. They gave his religion became with soul, fellowship, and love. He could read her energy. He knew she lost her mom. You gotta know what you're dealing with. I don't care who has consumed you, you still have to know how to read energy. You have to know how to read energy. It doesn't even take long, really to play the long game. Like sometimes I feel like projects, so I, do things in doses. But in real life, you should be able to read somebody's energy from when you first meet them. That's gonna determine those next actions, period. Your next move is gonna determine my actions. Everybody needs to be satisfied with that. I may be a fucking gremlin. I don't know. Just gotta be prepared for the next action. You can think one way, you can think that you got your head straight and everything is closing for you. But because people lack communication, people don't know how to talk without yelling. Like, who are you talking to? There was a time when I was definitely aggressive, but you can feel people energy. And when you learn how to sit back and stop talking so much, this is my job, my bad. You have to know when to chuck up the deuces. Like you should be able to know when to put up boundaries. I talk about boundaries a lot. When you learn how to put people in their corner, typically people just feel out your energy. They want to know if you're authentic, if you really have what it takes for me to gift you with my presence. Because loneliness is at an all-time high in this world today. Shout out to the pandemic. It's real. And I think that people have to get through their head that now we're outside again. Everybody want to be outside still. Everybody still want to be outside. It's really, it's really a dope concept because I did it for like a month and I was like, I can't do this right now. We just closed out a trade war, probably for like 4 days because you know how this man do. So, and I'm not even mad because decisions cause ricochets throughout the market every day. And the average person doesn't pay attention to that, so they don't know that this is happening every day. So you don't know what these next moves can really determine for our country as a whole. And depending on where your mindset is going to allow you to make the next positive selection. You know, a lot of people are not going to be able to survive this sun in 2025. It is hot as fuck. Yesterday I was outside meditating in the sun. I promise you, I have never felt that kind of energy in my life. And I've been really outside meditating in the sun for several years now. Nope, not once. Nope, not once. It's really the energy that's hitting the planet, mad ancient, mad ancient. Thinking about watching The Mummy. I had watched The Mummy sometime last month, like March, April, sometime. And thinking about reincarnation and how people have to be man eaters and just man as fluid, gender fluid. You have to know when to be a man eater. And you don't, that's where you start playing into that hate energy, going back to the, movie where she said, no, these are not hates, these are vampires. And that energy, you have to know how to read the room. It's so important. You want to be in the room, but you have to know how to read the room. And it's really interesting out here. And unfortunately, you almost have to approach every situation like that, going back to, people joining forces and procreating and the importance of procreating during this time in civilization. We have to really get to a part where we're now a human race, because if the energy that's hitting the planet on a daily basis is on, forget 10x, that shit is on 100x. I've literally been watching the sun cycle for the last 3 years, and I became obsessed with it where it was like every day, because I wanted to feel the genuine change in the energy, because you genuinely can, and you have different symptoms. So you kind of have to know what's happening on this planet. Because if we really are a ball in space that's consistently elevated or just consistently on a heavy rotational axis, even if it is only 24 hours a day, right? If that's what we're claiming that it is, then so be it. Let me get my LO on, right? I'm done. But you have to be in that energy right now. Everybody is not going to be able to survive the energy that's hitting the planet. People's bodies are physically changing and they don't even recognize what's happening. And it's because this energy on this ball in space is happening. People are getting different weather patterns, volcano eruptions out the wazoo. You got earthquakes, 170 earthquakes a day above ground, underwater. Like, just like there may be things crumbling on the outside of us, there are things below the surface. 5% of the ocean only discovered. That's 90 percentile of a force, an oasis, a land, an underwater oasis, an underwater kingdom that we have no idea about, and we technically don't know them either. And whether if that be just organisms or physical people who can do both land and water. I gotta finish watching that series. I hate a series, child. Can you please just make more movies? I'm so sick of series. I don't really have the kind of time to sit and watch a series unless y'all gave me like anthrax or something. Then we could talk about it. But I wish things were just like beginning to end, because watching that show Siren, where there were mermaids coming to Seattle, Washington, and transitioning into humans and have been living there for so long time because they had the remedies on how to cure and to live and to sustain themselves on land and not have to go back into the water to transfer their entire bodies from merman to human being without having to toggle in between. It was a painful death birth process. And while I get that may be necessary with the whole yin and yang energy, it's still giving ghetto. Very much so. Very much so. Nobody's into survival right now. Everybody want to be at a club or a party. And I'm trying to see what the tariff war looking like. Like, come on, we got one deal with China, big woo. They are not the only fucking country in the world. Wow. Awesome. I'm tired of seeing everything made in China any fucking way. Like, please send them out of here. I love me a good Italian everything. France too. Ooh, just mm, culture is important. I remember this guy I worked with at this tech company. We were like really similar in personality, but very much different. And he was from India, and I was born here in America. He said, America has no culture. So you got to be careful what you're saying here because it's truly a melting pot because people from all over the world migrated here, regardless of whether their experience was pretty or not, because they had money or not. You're trying to thrive in a new world. Whatever that experience looks like, that's the side of coin that you get. So it's up to you to decide if you want to survive in this world and you pick a coin, or you can apply the knowledge of the coin and not be of the world. That 1%. So I get it. Usually people get a reign, and depending on how long your reign is, it could be a year, it could be 6 months, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years. How vast are you going to expand your brand that's going to sustain you over X time? Some people grow way too fast and they get big headed. And then all of those things that they connected with during that time started to crumble. So now their brand will too crumble. There's nothing we could do about that. Nothing we could do about that. So here's the thing. When the Wheel of Fortune, I said this back in like 2, 3 years ago. When the Wheel of Fortune turns, y'all gonna feel that shit and y'all not gonna be prepared because y'all was too much on your high horse. And here we are, nerds by the book, talking about the fucking sun is getting hotter and everybody's not gonna survive because we have been watching the sun and feeling the weather conditions changing. Being prepared, knowing how to do shit, knowing how to get shit done, knowing how to build shit, knowing to stash for a rainy day. Knowing, reading the books, understanding our culture, recognizing that you may not be that person to go out and do the 9 to 5 thing. You may be the person that be an educator. You may be one that's amazing in customer service. You may be the one that's good at building shit. You may be a chef knowing how to cook that cocaina. I don't fucking know. My bad, America. These the streets that built me. New York City. Shout out to the Knicks, though. Shout out to the Knicks. Baby, I'm coming home if we get the chip. Forget about it. Unintended. It's so terrible. Yo, you had to be there. New York City doing the 90s is a vibe. Ooh, beat me up, Scotty. Beat me up. And we're in a 9 year. Yeah, if y'all not shedding weight, Scorpio full moon talk now. If y'all didn't shed weight and become people who can vibe and to really share their truths, knowing how to release the trauma, knowing when to release the hurt from the trauma that's inflicted, knowing when to get to a spot where you can share your traumas with your loved ones because that's really just the reality. We have to be willing to be vulnerable and help one another heal based upon their stories, their perception, their energy. Who are you to tell me that my story and my experience isn't what it is? Order in the courts, right? Judicial system. When did you become the judge? I got questions. More questions, actually. And this is where cornbread and insecurity come in, right? You made a poor judgment decision by leaving your post, soldier. Shout out to the ROTC folk. That was my shit. I really started as an airman and came out as a major in 3 years. We was extra, extra credit, okay? When you got them forget about it, New York skills. We get into it. We get into it. Gotta stay ready. I don't care what somebody energy give off. You always gotta still be on your post. You gotta know the code, feel the energy, read the room. You have to know how to read the room. Because if in that show, all of a sudden that person took that person's soul, they became dead and now a vampire. Homeboy started speaking Chinese. That shit was OD. It shows you that the Asiatic black man is a real thing. That's a culture. Because, bro, why I gotta know where every Chinese spot is in any city that I live in? Any city that I live in, any city, we gotta know where the Chinaman, like sometimes I might need a good bowl of soup. I don't know. I need the 24-hour broth energy. Energy, gotta know how to make good judgment calls. It's gonna really come down to energy. I don't even know what to say. Sure, 9 times out of 10, that person may have a little bit more melanin than you. You know, maybe your soul family looks exactly how you need it to be. It doesn't matter what that person's outward appearance looks like. Could I really have white chocolate on my team? There's always one in every hood. You're wilding if you didn't have one. You're really not from New York. I'm about to Facebook that. You're really not from New York if you ain't have a white chocolate. You really ain't from New York if you didn't know a white chocolate. Now that's facts. Well, now I'm so thankful to be able to be in a position to, come talk to you all and you actually listen to what the fuck I gotta say. It's kind of funny to me, because I always knew that I'd be doing it just because I was raised up that way to be a speaker. My dad was a speaker. So I witnessed him, boiling uh some water for 45 minutes in the microwave to record his speech. And I thought that was so fire, and him reciting when he was in the shower or when he was in the mirror, when he's, in the kitchen ironing his clothes, witnessing that level of speaker is fire, and I'm so thankful that I was able to witness that regardless of the cult that we were in. Shout out to the JWs too. I always find y'all everywhere, and all the women read tarot cards or oracle cards. It's crazy. We just have a different soft touch to, being the chosen people on the planet. And you kind of have to figure out where you are and what that looks like. Um, as an entity, as a force, as a people, you have to recognize our souls a energy in somebody. People are nasty in 2025. I have this trending post right now on Facebook that's talking about, you know, would you rather have a woman who can come with assets, like physical, monetary, suit and tie, got degrees, la 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 la, or could she come to you with nothing? The thing took off. And in this movie, we witness both sets of that energy. And, think about, I'm going to call them yin and yang energy. Think about the yin and yang energy and how one energy got it from the mud, started from the bottom. They shared a sentiment moment together. They had a love that couldn't be penetrated by time. She had hoodoo practices and knowledge to, you know, conjure and protection spells for her king. And that saved his life until the end. And he made a decision like, nah, she's gone. I'm not gonna even want to be here left on earth with nothing left to protect me because those prayers will run out. Do you know what I mean? Like, how could I leave my wife behind and never ever be able to feel her prayers, you know? And you have to live in that turmoil because she's no longer there with you. And then you got Stack with his interracial wife, who he put up to marry somebody who was wealthy so she can live a good life. He left her with the material world and he went and lived that gang life with Capone in Chicago. He felt like he didn't want her to be around that violence, that, what they say? Robbing banks and trains, but can't steal this cat for a night. And she knew that all it would take is one time for him to be all up in her energy. One time. And that cost him his life. Oh shit. That's so deep. I don't even know what. Got to be able to read the energy. But then you thought it was safe. I'm going back to cornbread ass. He really needs some bacon. He need to get a little bit more dark because he was not on his post, soldier. You don't leave your post. If he was on his post physically, energetically, spiritually, you would be able to read the room. You would be able to read the energy. And he did, and he still fucked up. You're supposed to ask more questions. Don't be afraid to ask more questions. I got questions. Okay. Excellent, excellent movie. Excellent, excellent movie. It's important for these types of movies to come out so that you understand your culture. This movie transcended over multiple generations. I'm sure there was some kids in these movies, you know, witnessing the role of twin flames on this planet. Who are we to say that Smoke or Stack's final life was the right or wrong way? Either way, they chose their woman. And this goes back to me saying about love and being together with man and woman. It's more important now than it has ever been, ever, 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 ever in life. Ever in life. You need to create some kids that are stupid downloaded with the sun's energy. This is just the beginning. It's going to get way harder than this. And people are going to have to thrive only at night. Like it's really a change, a flip of energy. Y'all don't even understand. That's going to be the version that we're talking about here. Vampires and people with the original soul culture. That's really what the 144 is all about. Really want to get funky with it. How many people fell for that jab shit? I don't know, Bug Bunny. You must be playing a trick on me. Sure, surely not. Surely I say to thee. Go read Psalms 23, Nadia, for these people, because, I'm not going to read the whole thing because I'm just not. I feel like it's a spell and I don't have time for that. But I'll probably read like a portion of it or something. But it's a spell by the way that shit reacted. That's wow. So, I've had to read the Bible my whole life, growing up as a Jehovah's Witness kid to a preacher, teacher, motivational speaker, woman on the floor, like something, something, something on Giza. Yeah. So Psalms 23, the Lord is my shepherd. He make me lie down in green pastures. He restoreth my soul. Yea, though I walk through the valley, thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Surely in goodness and mercy shall follow me. Y'all was chanting that shit as kids, like chanting that shit. I'm looking at it right now and I'm like, yo, and people don't even know that that word, Lord, is in all caps. I'm looking up like Lord in all caps. So this is my immediate thing, right? When I hear Lord, I automatically think that you're referring to the source energy where all things come through He, Him, Yahweh. That's who, to me, source energy is. When somebody places that title on something, it becomes what they worship. For me, my Lord is Sun God Ra. I have to be outside. You're bugging. Some people have their, God's names. But when you start changing that Lord title and you go from all capital letters, LORD, to GOD, to capital L, all lowercase ORD, capital G, lowercase OD. Those are all different things. Those are all different things, in my healthy opinion. Elohim. When Lord God or Lord God, lowercase Lord, occurs, it's usually a rendering of a dual name for God, Adonai, Yahweh. The term Hebrew Yahweh, Sabaoth, is usually rendered Lord of Hosts. The Hebrew term Yahweh Shaddai is usually rendered as Lord, all caps, Almighty. The Old Testament uses many different names and titles to refer to God, G, capital, lowercase OD, to emphasize certain aspects of his person and attributes. This can result in confusion in translation, but in the original Hebrew, it was done entirely in an effort to glorify and magnify God's name. The usage, excuse me, of Lord and God in the New Testament is much less complicated. Almost universally, God is a translation of theos, the Greek word for deity. Almost universally, Lord is a translation of curious, Kurios, the general Greek word for a master. The key point in all of this is that whether we use capital H, his actual Hebrew name, or refer to him as God or Lord God, we are always showing reverence to him and his name. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't care. To me now, you're causing confusion where there should be no confusion. What do you mean you are lowering my God's original name to a smaller depiction where we're no longer giving all shouty capitals? So when you're doing that whole Psalms 23 chant, that's what you're dedicating your life to, that energy depiction of the God. But they already lowered you because they give you a book to tell you that this is the God when you never went within to form that individual bond with God. Lord, all capital letters. I don't need anything to tell me how to live my relationship with God. And because I know how to live that relationship with God, I now have discernment. I now have these spiritual gifts that are talked about in y'all book, which are proven to be true, right? It's a form of energy knowledge. I was reading a job post today, and it was like you have to be cross-trained in every single department. How can I focus on what you hired me on if I have to know how to do everything? I will never understand that. At that point, that's where you have to call me like a evolution or an enterprise because I'm high key the boss by myself. Like you're molding me to be so many different roles and you don't have the opportunity to focus on one task, one thing. It's so confusing. All right, well, that was the end of my sinners breakdown for the second time. I really feel like we have to pay attention to the energy. Like I said, if you're not getting out sun for at least 30 minutes of the day, if you're not going to get sun for at least 30 minutes out of the day, then you're missing out on those energetic downloads that's going to continue to teach you discernment and to continue to teach you how to live in this new world. How are you going to thrive in this new world where energy is your currency? I want y'all to check out my Etsy shop. It has t-shirts with the Blue Martian on there. It's etsy.com/shop/QGH hub. I'm getting ready to add some summer products on there. We're about to do that up right quick. Just wanted to get this review out and really focus on, that energy that's hitting the planet right now and just my second review of some sinners. I love y'all. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the love. We out. Peace and Black hair grease.